Okay. Well, then I also want to move on to some practical examples. Because I also made some examples last week to use AI agents that you could apply yourself, because there are a number of tools available, including OpenAI. So we have the maker of ChatGPT. They have, a few weeks ago, they also released Agent. Well, that is an agent that you can basically use. I do believe it's not in the free models, so you do need a paid subscription. I believe that a plus subscription is already sufficient. Is that $20 per month or 30 euros per month? But it also goes up to those pro licenses that you then have. They cost a bit more, and then you can also apply more of these kinds of things. That's one, and the other is Manus. That has been available for a bit longer. Manus is of Chinese descent, but the Chinese are quite advanced also with these kinds of things. Well, I just have a few examples that I would like to share. Well, among other things, creating a PowerPoint. Now he can do that for me. I have an Excel file. Can he also enrich it by adding other data to it? I also want to make a nice visual of it. Well, I always like to get an update on yesterday's news in the field of AI, so that can also be automatic. And well, I actually also want to schedule some meetings with some employees, and I think those AI agents should be able to do that for me. So I will go through all 5 of them. Well, the first is a PowerPoint. Well, what I said is, okay, I actually want a PowerPoint with 8 slides, 1 cover slide, 2 that explain what exactly is this new agent feature. The topic is this new agent feature from OpenAI. So I said, well, just make a presentation of that. Then also give some examples in slides 3 to 7 of how that works. And in slide 8, let's make a comparison with the other agents. I shortened the video a bit because otherwise it's quite long. It took him quite a long time. He spent about 1 hour on it. It's quite long. But anyway, you can do something else in the meantime, because you don't need anything further. Now he says, okay, do you want it in a particular style? Then I also uploaded our PowerPoint house style. And then he starts working and says, okay, gather all the information about the new agent function of OpenAI, which was quite recent, only out for a few weeks. He also looks at, okay, what application do I have for that? He looks at our house style and what you see in the background. And then he says, well, these are the colors that are in it. And after 1 hour of rattling, he has neatly made a PowerPoint, including visuals in our house style. Well, I also put it here behind. So here you have the presentation. Well, I haven't changed anything. So this is really how it comes out. So I came up with that visual and the title myself. By the way, I gave the prompt in English. So the result is also in English. Well, what is that AI agent from OpenAI? Why is it different from an operator or an earlier function? I had also asked him that. And then a number of examples. Well, you can use it for research and data analysis, also with a visual included. You can use it to plan events, go shopping. You can use it to create and debug code. You can use it to make presentations. Well, here is proof of that. And also to plan certain appointments. Now, just a few examples of what you can do with it. And finally, a comparison with a few others. Well, he actually did exactly what I wanted. The nice thing is that the content was really looked up, so it was correct at that moment. And you can also see that because there are links below. So you can click through to see where he got it from. He says it, but is it correct? So you can verify all as well. Yes, so this is really great. It has really saved my part of this time because I don't have to do certain things myself anymore. Well, the second, well, this is an enrichment of the file. I think, well, let me just take the registrants. This was from last Tuesday, so by now we are slightly higher, close to 130. The people who registered for this webinar, look, that is, as you know, that is an email address, a name, and a first and last name, and the company name. And I do want to know what kind of positions these people who registered have. And these companies, what kind of companies are they? So that is actually what I also asked. I blurred the other registrants due to privacy. So I said, okay, take on the role of a data analyst and to those agents. Now here you have that Excel file and go ahead and see if you can find the function for each person who registered and also what kind of company it is. So which sector or industry is it in? And then neatly add that to the Excel file. And I want it back in Excel as well. Well, he says, fine, I'll get started on that. I understand you. And now initially he started testing a bit. That happens quite often, that he says, I did a test. Is this okay? And if that's good, then he will continue with the rest. So in this case, it went through several stages. And after 24 minutes, he had analyzed everything and also had the first results. Well, Evelyn, I didn't say test, but that was a test. That's our marketing lead. So he had also created this. And he just looked something up, even though he didn't have the last name. That Evelyn is probably the lead marketing of Squadron based on a LinkedIn post. Well, Squad focuses on digital transformation services like PIM, AI, analytics, etc. And just like with the moped included. So he did that really well. Well, he did the same for everyone else. And in the end, I got a nice list for everyone with the function included. In this case, that marketing and for which sector and industry it is. Well, very handy. I didn't have to do much more with it. Well, the next use case I actually want to visualize as well. That's because yes, great, I have a file here, but if I have to go through all of that myself, I would rather not do it. So in this case, I use Maris, another AI agent, and I said, okay, here's the Excel file that I had enriched. Now generalize those sectors, because there were many different ones, into a maximum of 10, and create a report, and then make a pie chart. Also create a word cloud of the functions and make an overview of when those registrations took place, and make a nice report out of it. So that's basically what I asked. So that got started in this case quite quickly, about 5 minutes. I can grab this link. Then you also see what he actually does. This is a kind of replay of what he did. This is my question. It goes a bit faster here, but now he's going to investigate various things. He's going to write code to analyze that. You can follow it on the screen, but you don't really need to watch it. And ultimately, you could say this results in a nice report that he has made. Well, then I also want to switch back to what he has made. He just made the graphs. So I have here 40% in the corner of technology and software. Well, the rest is order. Then I have wholesale and distribution, manufacturing, etc. So a nice distribution of the companies. Well, these are also the most common words in the job descriptions that have been. So many of us also have manager in there. If you look at the registration moments, you can see that there are peaks throughout the day at certain times when it has been good. How has that been in the recent period? Well, very well. But I also want to have a report, and he has made that too. So he has made an 11-page report. I'll just grab it, in which he neatly says, well, okay, this is a summary. Back then, there were still those 117 registrations. Well, this is the analysis in the area of sectors and industries. This is the distribution that goes with it. Well, these are the functions I have. We found this many functions. Well, these are the functions that occur most frequently in it. Also, that analysis in those words. Well, what is the timeline analysis? Well, the first, last, average, etc. And then finally, also a certain recommendation where you say, well, okay, maybe you should also, Friday is the most popular day for registrations and 10 o'clock is the peak hour. So that's actually the best time. Now I can use that for a next webinar by saying, well, let's do it at that time then. So those are actually the conclusions he then gives as recommendations. And yes, all of that in just a few minutes, because basically you just waited for it. And I had this analysis done very quickly. Well, the next one. Then we move on to the daily summary of the latest AI news. What I said is, okay, I want to be kept informed and I want to have a daily overview of what the most important developments are. And I thought that I would like to listen to it while cycling. So I want it in an audio format. So fine. He gets to work. I don't know exactly how long it took, but not very long, something like 10 minutes. Now I'm getting started, and I've also made the latest one, still in this case from the day before. So that was from last Monday then. Well, what was the most important news then? That China had a certain conference and it challenges America, the West. Samsung has a big deal with Tesla in the field of AI, etc. And then he put it in an audio snippet.
So, morning and welcome to your AI News Flash. I am bringing you the hottest developments from yesterday's artificial intelligence world while you're on the move. Buckle up, because July 28th was absolutely explosive in the AI space. Let's dive right in with our top story. The AI Cold War just got a whole lot more interesting. China threw down the gauntlet yesterday at the World
etc., etc. You understand that it is, of course, very American and absolutely fantastic. By the way, it can also be done perfectly well in Dutch, so I could have chosen that too. But in any case, it is very easy to gather news in this way and at the same time get an overview, and to get that every day as well. Well, that's actually a piece of cake. Well, then the last news case vibe, I find that the most impressive myself. Because here, namely, this question is a bit more difficult. The rest was all a bit like make something and analyze something. I give you something and fine. But this is actually a question where I say, yes, I just want to have a meeting, monthly meeting from September until the end of the year with my colleague, Joey Jacobs. That's his name. It should last 2.5 hours and find out when we can. But yes, this is something where he actually has to look in my Outlook, my calendar, to see if he can do that. So that's also possible. Well, how do we do that? So I also asked the question here. I want to schedule a meeting with my colleague 2.5 hours from September until the end of the year in Outlook. Well, then he goes looking for, okay, Outlook, okay. And then I look, and at some point I say, yes, I now need the login details. And then he says, okay, up to here. And then I ask you to take over, because I can then click a button, take over, you get some warnings, then I will log in. So these are details that it does not remember. At least it promises very much that it will not remember them. So I log in here with my email address. Of course, I also provide my password. And in our case, there is also that two-factor authentication. So besides the password, I also have to give approval in my app. So I am doing that now. Then you log into that. And after I have done that, it's like, okay, well, it all worked out. Then it basically continues. And I now go to this is just Outlook and my mail. And at that moment, I can say, well, I'm done. And then I find that controlling. And then I say, well, I'm this far done. You can take over again. Thank you. Now I am logged in. And now I will continue with your question. I had to schedule an appointment with your colleague, Joey Jacobs. I can also follow what he is doing on that small screen. So he eventually goes to my calendar, which is quite impressive, because he looks at the screen and thinks, okay, where could that calendar function be? And because he doesn't really know that interface either, probably not the first time, but in any case, this is new for him too. So he figures out, okay, which button do I actually need to schedule appointments? And then finds out, okay, what is the button to invite people? And then he fills in Joe Jacobson, and he indeed finds it. That will probably be the right one. We'll select the dates and then check when we both can. Well, that takes a while. He's really busy for quite some time. He spent a total of 1 hour and initially put those appointments in as drafts. And then he asked me, okay, is it all right if I schedule them? These are the dates it has become. And well, that's fine. Just schedule it. And then he schedules it. By the way, I hadn't specified that I wanted it during office hours. So he found the easiest option, that it's between 5 and 7:30. So he scheduled those appointments between 5 and 7:30. The next day, my colleague asked if I wanted to meet monthly at 5 o'clock. I said, no, that's a test. Leave me out. So he did it all neatly. But if you think about it, I find that really powerful, because that means I basically always have web access somewhere. I can actually access all kinds of systems, whether it's an ERP system, my financial accounting system, my order at bowl.com, whatever. I can actually assign an AI agent the task to figure all that out and do it for me. Admittedly, he politely asked me, okay, I need to log in, give your details, log in for a moment, and then he doesn't know it anymore. So in principle, I can't proceed independently unless I want to. But yes, it offers so many possibilities that if you look, just consider it yourself in a day. How much do you work in certain application systems? What do you do in them? You could definitely create an AI agent that reads your emails during your vacation and picks out the most important ones and maybe sends an appropriate response. Whatever, just imagine it. Also, all those kinds of things are already possible now and will become increasingly possible in the future. So I personally found a really great case that also has a lot of potential for the future. Well, then it's time for a poll again. Time is flying by. So now I actually want to know from you. Suppose it's 2 years later, we're in 2027, and well, the neighbors have had a baby girl and you want to buy a gift for them. How are you going to do that? That's also the question for you. If you could also think about what you would do in that situation. Let's start that as well. Let's see. Well, what don't you have now?
Otherwise, I will immediately start 2 polls. Yes.
It's a bit of a search, but then you get it. So indeed, I'm just going to the store. I'm not going to do anything with AI. I just find it much more fun to go shopping. Or I'll just do what I always do, search on Google or maybe on Perplexity or GPT. And then I know what I want, and then I still go to the store, or I might do it in combination with ordering online, or I let an AI agent do the work. Well, I am very curious. I have asked this a few times before, also to others. And I do see some differences here because I often got the result back that people said, yes, I'm just going to the store. I just like it. I'm just going to do it. It's also a bit about whether you're a man or a woman. Maybe I'll hear something else now. Well, in this case, you see that most people, half of them say, okay, I would like to order it online at Bol or Amazon or something. 33% say yes, I think I'll still let an agent do it. Yes, the rest is still a bit in between. I'll let you fill in the rest. Then we can see the final result later. Well, Google has also thought about it, and I have a short video to show how Google sees this in the future. So I'm here with the
latest research prototype of Project Astra, and we're going to see how it can help me fix my bike.
I'm going online and look for a user's manual for a happy mountain bike.
I have found a manual for you. What would you like to know about it?
Okay, cool. Now scroll until you find the section about the brakes.
Sure thing. Looking for that page now.
I think I stripped the screw. Can you go on YouTube and find a video for how to fix that?
Natuurlijk. Ik open nu YouTube. Dit lijkt een goede video.
Place a rubber band over the head of the screw.
Can you go through my emails with the bike shop and find which size hex nut I need?
Sure, according to the email from Bicycle Habitat, you need a 3/8" hex nut for your sprocket. I've highlighted the correct pin for you.
It seems like I need a spare tension screw. Can you call the nearest bike shop and see what they have in stock?
Ja, ik bel ze nu. Ik laat je weten wat ze op voorraad hebben.
I think my brake pads are wearing down. Can you check the manual again and see if it talks about them anywhere?
According to the manual, if you look on page 24...
Do you want to get lunch?
Yeah, give me 5 minutes. Can you finish what you were saying?
As I was saying, if you look on page 24, section 2, you'll see how to replace the brake pads.
Okay, any updates on that call?
See.
I think you understand the story. This is actually also how Google indeed envisions it. So those AI agents are integrated everywhere, can understand, let's say, your conversations very well, and also talk back and can even make calls. Well, that is also something that is really quite interesting, because up until now it was always a bit more difficult, but you actually see with this kind of technology that it is becoming easier. Yes, right, wrong button. So that is the future. We have also elaborated on that a bit. How we could also do that with the months, for example. Well, that is one of those agents. So I also have an example here of, yes, I want to buy a gift for the newborn daughter of our neighbors. Look for a romper in the color pink on the internet and compare the quality and prices and advise me on the best option. Yes, what it does next is it will say, well, fine, I will take a look, I will search, and eventually end up at HEMA, where I will look and find pink rompers. I will also check on Zalando, where I also find pink onesies. And eventually I come up with a certain recommendation where I say, well, if I line it up, then actually, let's say HEMA is the one with the good quality. If you want a wider selection, then you should go to Zalando. Now I can possibly still ask, hey, did you also check Zeeman? Because I didn't see that one. Well, fine, then you include that one too. He indeed goes to look at Zeeman. On that website, he selects the color pink. He does all of this automatically and also removes things from there. And eventually he concludes that if price is the most important factor, then Zeeman is the best choice. Well, price, quality, and also more environmentally friendly than HEMA. And so depending on your personal preferences, you can choose the best option. So this is in any case a different way of Googling, so to speak, because you actually just give a command and it performs a much deeper analysis with much better advice. about which products are available. Well, that's the first part. I see that we're running a bit out of time. I still want to do that second part because it's about how I apply AI for product data and for e-commerce. As I mentioned earlier, we have also developed a solution that solves a number of common problems around that product data. So what is that then? Yes, I have an example page here. In this case, from a Belgian site, it says, well, I have a radiator for sale. I have a title, I have a picture, very nice. We're going online. But in the end, quite a bit is still missing. And some things are okay. For example, you must always place the product in the correct categories because that's where customers will naturally look. Well, that is one thing. If you look further, yes, there is actually a lack of a commercial description of the product. You know, I don't really know exactly if there is a term on it. How much was it?
No idea.
And that also means that due to the absence of that text, it cannot be easily found in Google or Perplexity or those kinds of engines. Well, there is one image which is super cool, but it would be even better if I could also see this radiator in a usage situation, in an office or the bedroom, and then I would have a better idea. I see it only says 2000 watts. Well, that is very little because with that, as a customer, I don't really know what I'm buying. There is still substantial security on it. What are the dimensions? Well, I don't know. And that's a shame because it means I can't filter on it. Because if I now say in the web shop that I'm looking for a radiator, but it can't be higher than 65 centimeters, then this doesn't come up. While if I look closely, I do see something in the title about the dimensions. So actually that data is there somewhere, but not quite in the right place. Further, I also see in the title, it says no timer. So it could also be, maybe there is one that does have a timer and that would have been nice. If I then also say, well, I have another variant of it. So this one is with a timer, or this one is maybe 1000 watts instead of 2000 watts. Or this one is not in white, but it's available in black so that I, as a customer, can easily navigate to the right variant of this product. And maybe also a bit of upselling to say, no, if you buy this radiator, you might also want to buy an extension cord. Lastly, a bit about the languages. As a Belgian site, you want it in Dutch and French. So you want all this content to be available in other languages as well. Well, you see these kinds of problems quite a lot, quite often throughout the entire chain. And that is also the solution we have developed. So the PowerSuite, which specifically solves a number of these kinds of issues through the different modules. Yes, time is short and I don't want to make it too much of a commercial presentation. But very briefly, what it is, a Power Class puts it in the right category and also converts that data from suppliers, for example, into a model that you would like to have. With power testing, we can enrich that data. So we can ensure that the dimensions are advantageously extracted from the title, that the color is neatly extracted from the photo, that we experience data from the internet or from a PDF, that we retrieve the data from there so that I get truly complete data. Can I create a nice atmospheric image with the power image so that I indeed see those images here? Can I generate those commercial texts and titles with power text? Can I establish the relationships like the variants and those accessories with Power Relate? Power Match, can I ensure that for wholesalers, when they receive bids and tenders, the product description is also matched with the article names? Well, all very nice features. And if you look at how we deal with the whole world of AI agents, you also see that our solutions, we are also working on seeing if we can set that up in a more intelligent way. I'll take the example of text generation. Of course, we can. With Power Text, we can ensure that for the entire assortment, a good commercial description is generated with the right SEO keywords, unique and the right languages, etc. But if you look underneath, it actually consists of several other agents. For example, one that looks at what the right SEO keywords are for this product, because that is, of course, different for each product. Then I have an agent who is very good at that, who is specialized in it. Now, then I might have a certain agent that says, okay, I want to generate the best possible text, but then I also need the best possible prompt that I can use, right? Another agent that says, okay, do we have enough features? Because if I have that radiator and I only know that it is 2000 watts and nothing else, yes, then maybe I first need to see if I can call another level that might also fetch the color and the dimensions. Then I can write a much better text. Well, I want to have a good image with it. Maybe I have several. Which image is most suitable to generate good text based on that? Yes, then I have those textual elements. And I might have another agent who says that with AI, it can sometimes happen that it makes things up on its own. You know what?
We'll do that with an anti-hallucination agent. Other AI agents will check on that.
This way, we ensure that our solutions can also be used as agents. We make sure that this is always up to date and that it always works perfectly, so you always get the best results. So this is also a development we are working on. Well, finally, I actually want to touch on a number of important developments in the field of that product data. So if you're involved in that, I already mentioned a few. Well, among others, for example, the automatic categorization of those products into the correct category. Well, what you see here. But also, let's say, when I receive data from a supplier, for example, in this case, housing from, in this case, Deeper. Yes, with us, that's called primary color housing. Yes. And then it also looks at the values that lie beneath. So it already understands the fact that the data it receives is provided, and then it prepares it nicely. Also, that enrichment, as I mentioned earlier, we can do that based on text, images, PDFs, but also the internet. Well, and then we indeed see that if I have this product, we find information about this product somewhere on the internet, including that 30 milliampere. Well, we then neatly convert it to 0.03 ampere so that I can also complete my data. Well, I can do the same with the help of images and also with those PDFs. Well, you can also check me on data quality. We actually see that the title says 250 milliliters. If we look in our system, it says 100 milliliters. Well, that's strange. That's a difference. So one of the two is probably not correct, or that I see very strange values. So this bathroom faucet, yes, with a width of 2 meters 36. Well, that actually can't be. Most of the bathroom faucets have a width between 10 and 30 centimeters. So we can also detect errors with those. Well, we can also detect errors in textual matters. Also, if you look at the entire process of onboarding data from suppliers, so a supplier sends an Excel file, or you might have data on their website. Well, with intelligent AI, we can also scrape those websites. Then we at least have structured information, for example, in Excel. Well, we can then use those to categorize and convert them into the correct format, or also use Excels from suppliers that they send. Then we can neatly enrich that by also looking at those PDFs, those images, and then I have good complete data that I can import into my system all at once. We can indeed use our solutions for that. Yeah, text generation, I think that's clear. But I mentioned a bit about it earlier. I have a washing machine here. I have its features. I have its photo. Yes, create a nice text that also matches my tone of voice and my house style. And well, we can do the same for images. So I have a number of pack shots here, so a number of product photos. From that plain product photo, I actually want a photo model in this case, wearing this chain. So this person doesn't exist, is just generated, or this chair that I place somewhere in the garden so that I can indeed proceed with that. Well, lastly, also help that customer find the right products. And that can be done in this way, among others. So I can say, well, I actually ask a question in natural language. So I expect that will soon be seen more on websites. So I am looking for a pressure washer to clean my wooden decking. And then he says, well, if you're looking for a pressure washer for wooden decking, you should be careful, because with such a wooden deck, if you have too much pressure, too high pressure, too strong a jet, you might damage the wood. So you actually need one with an adjustable pressure setting. By the way, this is a product that indeed has that. So it really acts as an advisor online for your customer. Well, another example is, okay, I want to get those customers on my site. I also want to refer them to his products. This is about those variant relationships. So we also have this wood varnish in another color, another gloss level, and also another content. With this kind of data that you also just see at Carway and Gamma and so on, that's actually the case. That's where we end up. Our AI is behind it to determine this. Well, a whole flood of information has been thrown at you. So I'm curious, now that you've seen and heard this, what do you think? Well, that's interesting for us too. We would like to do something with that as well. Yes or no? So I will now start the third poll, and then you can indicate that as well. So I found it interesting, but it's far from my bed. I won't do anything with it. Or interesting, I will definitely experiment with it myself. Interesting, but I actually want to get started on that product data and the e-commerce side. Oh, great. I will call you today to help us. Thanks.